Yo, yo. What's going on? Let me make sure this thing is good. I'm using new software. Hello. Yo, yo. Volume's good? Cool. Then we are in what they call the big game. As they say in the hood. Who do we got over here? I say, manage participators. You see people lurking in? Mine shows 0. Oh, there we are. Hey, Ryan. I think we're good. What's going on? How you doing, guys? Guys, let me know if the audio's okay and everything looks good to go. What's up with you, Ryan? Yeehaw. Hey, Matt. What's going on? Maja. Hello. My man. Hey, Rai. What is in the hood? Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Hey, Brian, what's up, baby? Good. Good to see everybody. Hold on one sec. Let me get all situated. Brody, what's up? What's going on? Bernakiak, how you doing? Let me just get this stuff all fired and ready to go. Maja, your fucking name is Maya? That changes things. Maya, what's up, man? Guys, it's good to see everybody. Welcome to the big game. Let me know where y'all coming in from. Market was good. I only took one trade today, but market was good. Oh, yeah. Cool. Guys, it is a pleasure to see everybody. Hold on, let me grab the rest of my charts, and then we're going to get this thing going. Boom. Slovenia. That's where it's at, man. How's the weather over there in the wintertime? Oh, yeah. Cool. Let's go do what we do. We'll get this party started. And you guys, at the end, let me know if you have any questions, and we'll get this thing moving. All right. Hey, Brian, what's going on? Brody, everybody is ready to go. So let's talk a little bit about cryptos in terms of what's going on with the markets. And so it's been a little bit dead out here in October because we had this really nice ramp up in September. We had the big dip and then the ramp up. And so now we're just kind of in these consolidation phases. And so right now is kind of one of those cool times where you've got to really go in and study up on the cryptos. And it's a good time to just spend some time learning because there's not much action going on, the last, I would say about week or so. You can see in the last half of September, you had this kind of nice ramp in ETH and BTC. But the last week or so, we've just been consolidating really in a tight range. Probably the tightest range that we've been at since over here, right? So you can see on ETH, we were in a little bit of a range here before we started to trend. And now we're stuck in this little bit of a range again. And so there hasn't been a crazy amount of action going on right now, because when you're stuck in a range, the best play is no play. Okay, and so one of the things I always think about, like when you think about stocks or cryptos or anything like that, is, you know, trending periods. Periods where the market and the major stocks are trending. Those are the periods that we want to stay in. Whether that trend is up or down doesn't really matter, you know, because we can go long or short. But what does matter is, you know, staying in those kind of trending periods. So one of the things that you're seeing right now with kind of the dailies in LTC and ETH is, you know, we're in a really, really tight range from 44 to kind of 56. We've been going back and forth, right? And so right now, the last few days, we've been dipping on this LTC. So, you know, maybe when it gets down close to 45, we'll be able to kind of ride it back up. But what this is essentially, it's a box, right? So anybody know like a range trading or box trading means, you know, when you're stuck in a box, the only moves to really do are to trade within the box, or wait till the box breaks in one direction or the other. So right now, we've got ourselves this kind of big 1 month long box, right? Where we're going back and forth in it. And so till this box breaks, we don't really have necessarily anywhere to go, right? And so you can trade this thing kind of back and forth if you want, but that doesn't really give you much reward or room for error. So there's two options. You either stand on the sidelines, or, right, you trade this thing back in the box. And so one of the things to also think about in ETH is the same type of deal, right? We've got this lid right up on top of this thing, and so we're not really getting too much action. Anytime ETH looks good and it has like a big up day or a decent size up day, it just kind of comes ramping back down, and then, you know, you get a pop and you'll start to think, oh man, here we go, like this thing is ready to go again. And then it just kind of comes back down. And so, you know, I'm just kind of watching these levels right now to see, you know, if and when we kind of break out of these ranges. And so the range I'm watching right now on ETH is this range right here, where the range is so tight, it's like 20 points. Till it breaks either the top of the range or the bottom of the range, we're not going to unleash or release what's happening in them. And so we've got to kind of play this thing in that particular manner, of that sometimes the best trade is no trade. So what do you do when the market itself and some of the big boys are just hanging around, right? What do you do when they're just hanging around? Like, how do you spend your time, right? Because we still want to be productive. So for us, the thing to do when we're just ranging is there's two things. Find a couple things that are moving, which there's always something that's kind of moving around. And then the other part of it is just build up your watch list, right? As much time as somebody spends trading, you should be spending 5x that time studying and building watch lists, meaning identifying what stocks and where you would buy them and what patterns, and then just studying up on how you're going to play them, so that when the market starts to trend, you're going to have a solid game plan on what to do next. And I think that's going to be really, really important. And so for now, while I'm kind of sitting here in this range, I do two things. I flip through, you know, and so like on TradingView, you have like you can go and kind of sift through and see like what's moving every day. So if you go in, you know, one of the things you'll be able to do here is, you know, you can kind of see like what's moving around this week, right? So you'll see different coins that are moving around. But you can see like most of the performance this week is all red. Not much going on. So when you see a sea of red, there's almost nothing to do. You have a handful of things that are moving though, like Neo, Z Classic, Ripple. So you want to stay in either with the stuff that's moving, or you sit and you build out your watch list, you study, you prepare yourself, and you wait till the moves start, and that's kind of one of the keys to this. And so for us, while we're sitting around, the main thing that we've been doing for at least income trades in the crypto chat room is, we're sitting around and we've been really just trading this NEO. So if you look at like NEO, I took a loss on this the other day, but we've been ripping some really, really good trades in NEO because in the last week, while ETH and LTC have kind of been sitting around in some of the other ones, there has been some really good action in this NEO, where it went from $17 all the way to $39 in really a matter of a couple weeks. And so focus on where the movement is, right? Most of the things are sitting around. Something will move, right? And so flipping through all the different, flipping through all the different stuff and kind of finding out where the action is really, really important. So for us, like we've been just ripping this NEO for the last couple weeks. And the thing is, when you're day trading something aggressively, you'll make much more gains than you would by just buying and holding and sitting there. Swing trading can make you some money, but when you're really doing some good day trading, you're going to rip something over and over and over and over, and it's going to pay you for the week, right? And so for us, we started taking this NEO, we started really ripping this thing when it first started to kind of come out of its range here. So you can see this thing started to move out of its range here, and we started to trade this thing as this thing started to trend. And so, one of our classic patterns, like when something starts to break, is, we'll start to hit these dips down to support where you get the flag patterns to really start nailing these things. And so we've had some really, really good entries in this NEO, but beyond that, there hasn't been anything going. You can see even here, check this out, right? So you got this like wonderful kind of flat top breakout. And when these kind of breakouts happen, you can trade these breakouts, but also the subsequent patterns end up being just really huge. Like one of our best alerts of the week, came from, some of these kind of flag patterns that NEO's been showing while it's been making its ramp up to 39, bucks or so. So it had this really kind of easy-go-lucky run to 34, and that's where the action's been. Beyond that, guess what? There hasn't been anything to do. So there's just been focus on what's working, build out your watch list, and even this thing is now pulling back, right? So you're not really getting any action even in this, but it's been pretty volatile up until that point. So we're just sitting around waiting till the movement comes. And guys, this happens even in the stock market. The one thing with the stock market is that there's just so many tickers and so many stocks that have earnings or PRs out that there's always something to play, even if the market is not doing anything. But in cryptos, because there's only a handful of cryptos really worth trading, sometimes the best move is no move, right? And so, beyond this NEO, which we've been really ripping well, there hasn't been the exact kind of, there hasn't been the action that we've needed. So that's kind of been where we're at with the market. So in the meantime, while we've been trading this back and forth, the big thing that I'll do every single day is I'll start flipping through these things, looking for potential opportunities to say, if this thing can do this, I would get interested in it. Meaning, I'm starting to plot out the moves of where something could go and then what I would do with it. As I believe you should spend more time studying about this stuff than the actual trading of it. Because trading is the easy part, right? You're just clicking the buttons and you're playing on all the planning that you did before. So, right now, we know that if this ETH can get over this level here, now we know that this thing will be it'll start its run back to 400, right? It's just stuck in a box. One of the things you can always do is, right, add an alert. So you can come in here, you add an alert, boom, 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 right? And you can now send an SMS, do whatever you need, and now you've got an alert for it. The other thing that you can do with these things, is start going through all of them, right? What are the plays? LTC, we're in a box. Perfect. What do we do? Well, if it comes to the bottom of the box, I may be able to buy some for a run back to the top. Or if it breaks the top of the box, even better, right? Now it could be released back up to start trending the other way. You know, this is completely natural. When you go from 45 to 100, to spend a month or two just sitting around, that's the nature of the beast, because there isn't that many cryptocurrencies to trade. Yeah, there are a lot of dumpy altcoins that, you know, pop randomly every day, but out of the major ones, there's only a handful that are moving any given day. And so right now, all I'm doing beyond just trading NEO is looking around for potential entries. Like this Zcash is something that if it can hold this 50 SMA, this may be something you can see it's really oversold. It's about 10 stochastics. If it can hold this 50 SMA, you know, you may start to see a bounce back into the 300s, right? And so you got to sit there and start carving out and mentally planning out what you will do when the market starts to turn around, because we're just in this big giant kind of consolidation retracement phase. XMR, same thing. I've got a trend line drawn here. You know, if this thing can start to break over the trend line and close over its 9 EMA, I think that this could be something that could start the momentum to maybe get a run back to 110, 120, 130. But right now, it's just not necessarily ready yet. Oh my God, coin, same type of deal, right? You had this move from a couple pennies to 14. Now you're just in this big consolidation phase, right? We don't have anything yet. It's just kind of sitting around. And so, you know, I kind of mentally have, you know, an idea, like if this thing gets back into the 7s and holds, maybe this thing will start to bounce up. But beyond that, you see all of this stuff, like huge runs, right? And now those charts are broken, right? XRP, this thing always sucks. So there's not even a point in looking at that one. Monaco, nothing going here. NEO, after that big trend, now it's pulling back. Usually after a big trend, you kind of need a 3-day pullback to get going again. So if you start to see one more big down day on this thing, I'd start to potentially look for a bounce on this. You can see it got really overbought here. When it got 93 stochastics, when it got into the kind of near 40 range, you're starting to get that really, really overbought level. And so now you've got to pull back. So maybe 1 or 2 more down days, we'll start looking for a potential bounce in this one. Let's check out some of these altcoins. So there's a handful of them that I've been watching, but none of them are ready just yet. This quantum, no pattern. This LSK is something that I've been stalking for a while because it's just kind of consolidating down here. And if it can hold here and just come out of this range, well, that could be something worth, you know, taking a gander at. But at the moment, because it's not doing anything, the best trade is no trade. KMD down 7% today, no pattern. Stratus, no pattern. Rise, see, this thing's just kind of pulling back down. Like, where can it go? Where does it need to stop? You know, you want to start playing these out in your brain of where it can go. For me, I'd like to see this thing kind of tap down into the 50 SMA and then break this trend line, and that would tell me that this thing is ready to start getting juiced again. INFX, nothing really going here. Popped up for a couple days, came back, but it's stuck in a range too. ARC, it ran to 5, and it's just sitting there pulling back. Nothing there. OKC, nothing there. ADX, now this one looks a little bit better because you can see like it had this nice push, and then now we're starting to kind of consolidate above this 9 EMA. So this is something that I would kind of keep on my watch list. Is it ready now? No. You know, it's still kind of, you can see from the candles, it spikes up a little bit and then comes back down. But that could be something that is consolidating here for another run. So I would flag this one. I'd keep this one on your list. IOTA, big giant turn. Boom, 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 boom. Trig, nothing going here, right? Now, obviously if trig can get going again and it can start breaking over these EMAs and start making higher highs, higher lows, this does have the ability to make a move because it was just at 280, right? So we do know it does have the potential to make a move. It's just you've got to remember and use common sense. If something was 10 cents and it got to $3, well, yeah, it's going to take a long time to heal. Stocks, cryptos, they're like people. And when they run too far and too hard, they've got to take a breather. So this one's going to take a little bit of work. Loonies, nothing. EBST, nothing. The best one I see out of these altcoins is this IOP. Every time, I missed this one a couple days ago, so I was multitasking, but this thing went from 50 cents to $6, right? Pulled back to the 9 EMA, had a nice bounce. Pulled back to the 9 EMA, had a nice bounce. Pulled back to the 9 EMA, had a nice bounce. Now it's starting to pull back to the 9 EMA, and while it's doing this, it's building kind of a breakout spot here around 6, where if it gets above, you may start to see a new box build. But in the meantime, till that breakout happens, you can only hit this thing really off those dips off the 9 EMA, because on strength, after a couple days, if you try to buy it, it comes right back down, right? So understanding the structure of the stock and how it's been moving is really, really important. So this one, you can only hit this on dips as it's in its trend. You don't want to chase this thing up, but this is probably the strongest out of all of them. You know, so I definitely keep this IOP on your list. CwK. This one has potential. I mean, it's spiked up in the past, but it's just sitting there. Now, the thing with consolidations is you don't know, like this thing could go sideways for months, or it could go sideways for a couple of days. You don't really know till it starts to break its levels and you start to see shorter term patterns. I like to use a 15-minute and an hourly. When you start to get shorter term patterns starting to trigger and set, that's when you know that on the daily, you're gonna start to see some action, right? So that's what they call aligning on multiple time frames. When you start to have an idea of something that's happening that you'd like to see on a bigger picture, and then you're using a smaller term time frame to start to see if shorter term patterns trigger, and then that takes the bigger pattern and triggers it. So those are kind of, you want to start looking at that on a smaller term pattern. Storage, junk, EMECT. So if you like pennies, so this one is a good mover. You know, this is like 8 cents, ran up to 17 cents. Now it's kind of coming back to this level that it was at before. So, you know, you may see a little bit of a bounce in this one also, but where it stops, it may stop here, but you don't necessarily know for sure just yet. But I know that this level is really important. If you go back, see it? Test, 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 test. So this thing has gone back a little bit away. So this could be a potential bounce spot for this. So, you know, if you start to see a little bit of rounding action, you start to see some green candles hold here. If you like pennies, this could be something worth playing. Now, I haven't been playing many of the penny cryptos as recently, while the market's been just junk, the penny ones, they pop up and then they die down really quickly. So I've been trying to stay away from these. But out of the penny ones, out of like Loon and Storage and some of these, this one definitely has kind of the parameters that you need, because you got to break out a pullback with multiple levels of support. So, you know, you start to see it hold here and you start to see things trigger on a shorter term time frame. Now you're good to go. Boom, and that's it. Crypto market has been a little bit slow the last couple weeks, but those are the ones that I'm watching. I think probably the one that's got the most explosive potential is this IOP. And then, you know, out of the big boys, Neo has been the best trader. But ideally, you want to see really LTC and ETH start busting loose and kind of take the market with you. Anybody got any questions? Yeah. Alexander. What language is that? Maho Koliko Dugo. Is that Slavic? What's going on, Sean? USRM, huh, buddy? Let me take a look. Yeah, there was some decent action in stocks the last couple days. I see what you're doing. I'm not big into penny stocks, but this has been a nice runner. BCC? So yeah, Bitcoin Cash has just been an epic turdzilla. Hold on, let me bring up the chart here. You know, after that run, so it ran to 1,500, came back, popped up to 1,000. I ripped this one from, you know, down over here into the 900s, and now it's just kind of, it's just trending down. The thing is, when something's just trending down, it's making lower highs, you don't necessarily know where it's going to stop. You know, it could just have a date with this 300. You can see that's where the old breakout was, and that's where this last dip was. So I would kind of keep that 300 level. I would keep that 300 level in your mind. But as of the moment, see how it's just following down its EMAs? You know, you can't get in front of this and just try to buy it and hope it breaks over and unleashes. You know, you'd be just stepping in front of the train. So you've got to let that thing form out and start to trigger different patterns. But it all starts with, of course, kind of, at least at first, it's got to break over its 9 EMA before anything. Dash is another one that's like, you could see, it doesn't have any surefire pattern. Like it dipped down to 220 and then popped up, and now it's kind of just drifting back. So you could see this thing probably, you know, this thing could drift back to 220 or, you know, 260s or something like that. But right now it's just stuck in a range. The Ponzi's coin. No, I have not checked out the Ponzi coin. Let's see. What's the ticker? It's not on TradingView. Might not be out yet. BAT. Let me take a look. Basic attention. Yeah, this is kind of one of them coins too. Like you can see, it's just been stuck. It's been stuck in this range for a while. Like you definitely need it to clear this level of supply before it can really get going. You know, right now it just kind of pops up for a couple days, comes back down, pops up. Sure, you can kind of hit these things on these big dips for like little scalps back up, but till this range clears, it's just going to be one of those things to just kind of watch. You can hit it on the dips down to support, but you're not necessarily going to get a easy play till its range starts to ebb. You can see it's just kind of been muddling a little bit. See that? It's like, Brian, when I'm looking for day trades, I'm just looking for anything with momentum that's breaking out of a pattern. It could be, and once it's out of the pattern, whether it's the first day, second day, third day, fourth day, you can keep trading it till it essentially gets overbought. Then you've got to leave it alone. Hey, Daniel, you know what? Does CoinMarketCap have any charts? Ponzi's coin. Oh, yeah, it's about 5 pennies. What exchange would you buy this on? I haven't really seen this one that often. I have accounts everywhere. Let me see if it's at Bittrex. It's not at Bittrex either. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm always dubious. If it's not trading anywhere, it's hard. I mean, I have a Bittrex account. I don't see it on there. Not yet, at least. Yeah. It's probably just one of them. There's a million of these kind of random ones. You know, I don't have an account at Coin Exchange. Let's see what their fees are. I guess you do have a bunch of random ones here. I'm always dubious of these kind of random website stuff. Let's see here. I'll have to do a little research. I haven't heard of this one before. Yeah, so look, Jason, I've been in some of the big runners. The problem is the liquidity on some of them. So, like, I forgot if it was not Trig. It was THC coin, right? So, I had THC BTC pair. That's your hemp coin or some pot coin. I had like $2,000 worth, right? But, you know, it's like 1 penny or 2 pennies. So, I have like 1 million shares for like $2,000. When I had to go and unload those shares, it fucking took me hours to get rid of the thing. And just selling like $100 of that coin at a time, I was knocking down the price. Like, it was nuts. Sometimes they're so hard to get in and out of them. One of the things, Sid, too, when you're looking at these coins is like you want to really look at the range of how it already trades. Like, does something, when you're looking at something, you know, you want to always kind of figure out, like, what's its range, right? Because that's going to tell you whether it has the ability to move the way you want. You know, what's its range? Can you trade it in USDT, or do you got to do it in BTC, or do you got to do it in ETH? The worst part is, like, when you are in some random coin, and then you got to pair it with ETH, and then ETH goes up 10% that day too, and you're like, oh man, like your coin's barely moving, even though it looks like it is. So you got to kind of weigh those things. That's why I prefer, at least when I'm on Bittrex, to do, you know, some of the bigger coins, because I can do it in USDT. I will pair do the BTC pairs, of course, if I need to, but the big thing is to look at the chart pattern, then look at its actual range that it can move in a day, you know, by looking at its past history. That will tell you if it has the ability to move intraday the way you want, and then look at its previous highs. Like, where did it go? Where did it come from? If something was at 6, right, just a couple weeks ago, and it starts breaking out of patterns and it's at 2, right, you at least know mentally this thing could get back up to 6, right? It's been there before, and it got there fast, right? It got there fast. And so I think that ends up being the thing is, how can it get there, and did it get there fast before? Cryptopia. Ooh, is this a New Zealand? Crypto exchange. Convert New Zealand dollars to NZTT. Well, I'd have more faith to put my money in New Zealand than I would in China. You gotta love when your crypto exchange sells car stereos. How awesome is that? It's like, not only are we a world-class crypto exchange, but you can get a warm winter Bluetooth beanie hat. That's epic. Jason, the reason that day trading is just a higher percentage rate, it's not like one makes more money than the other. Your win rates in swing trading are lower for all traders is because you're going for a higher percentage return, right? Like say you're in a swing trade and you have the perfect entry and you're up 50 cents on it or a buck. You can't really sell it for a buck if you're risking 5, right? That's the easiest way to go broke. But if you're day trading, your risk, those 50, 60 cent pops, those dollar pops, $2 pops, you can just keep taking them, right? You can just keep taking them because your risk is also usually minimized when you're doing them. And so, you can end up, there's more leeway to call an audible, when you're day trading. Sometimes, when you're day trading, you may not even cover your risk, but if you see the thing rolling over or something, you may call the audible and just get out, right, and take your profits. And so you can kind of keep hitting stuff on little patterns. And so, your win rates will be a little bit higher, but your reward to risks are lower too. Like when you're day trading, you don't get trades that are like 10 to 1 or 5 to 1 reward to risk, right? Because you're always selling a little bit quicker. Where in swing trading, because you're holding something for a week or two, you have higher reward on the individual trade, but you're in that trade for a long period of time. And so, you have just a lower win ratio. Like my mentor, Paul, who's like one of the best swing traders I know, like his win ratio is like 45%. You know what, Kyle? Everybody's a little bit different too. I've bought and hold numerous times in my life and something's gone to zero. One of my first big trades, this is about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I had all my money in this stock and it looked like it was the news on it, the ratings on it, everything on it was just the best. It was the best. And you could not hear a single person say anything bad about this company. It was at $20, then it got to 10, then it got to 5, then it got to 3, then it got to 2, and it went to 0. Johnny, I do have CoinMarketCap account also. I just like the reason that I've been using TradingView a lot, so you can do like different layouts for like multiple windows. So like I have one over here, so where I'm watching like a bunch of stuff, right? And that helps me because, as I'm trading, I got 4 monitors for stocks, futures, everything. I just like this aspect of TradingView where I can watch like multiple things all at once. CoinMarketCap, I have an account here too. I like the layout better, but I find that it's just a little bit easier for me to get organized. I got the premium on CoinMarketCap too. It's a little bit easier for me to get organized on TradingView. Well, one of the things, Jason, also is that, like, say you're swing trading, you're using something on a daily chart, right? Well, like the average range on a candle of a daily chart could be 10%. So if you try to use, like, say, a $1 stop loss on something, you would just guarantee yourself to get stopped out every time. Tight stops, when you're looking at a larger term time frame, the tighter your stops, the more likely you are to get stopped out. So you got to use much looser stops. So therefore, you have to have a higher potential reward, right? Because your stop losses are going to be that much looser. The crypto market's really not that different. Price is price, and action is action, and money's money. The flow of money throughout any business is really the same. And you'll find some cryptos that don't ever, you'll start seeing them now. Like, you'll find some cryptos that exploded and they'll never come back, right? You'll have this thing, I traded this thing the day that it came out. I got one of my students stuck in, one of my students has been holding this thing forever. We were day trading this thing the day it came out, me and Taylor, and dude, this thing went from 50 cents to 5. A bunch of people were buying this thing till 4. Now they're going to buy and hold, and what are they going to do with this thing? It just goes down every day. At some point, this thing will be 10 cents. At what point does buy and hold not, right? You can't always buy and hold. You have to always be managing your risk. Good, good, good. Anybody else got any questions? Hey, you didn't tell me there was parameters to your buy and hold. You just said buy and hold. Sure, I'm a big ETH fan too. If I have it at 6, I'm an ETH fan. If I have it at 400, I'm not a fan. It's all relative in terms of, really, you still got to time them. But then that's just me. What do I know? I'm just a man trying to live. I actually have some Zcash. I actually added some yesterday. What's up, Dad? What are you doing back there?
Nothing. I'm looking at your
Creeping.
chart.
How much fundamental do I go off? None. I don't hold anything long enough to have to study the fundamentals. I read this CoinDesk, and we are putting. The oil lord has been working on getting like a news aggregator kind of thing up on the Crypto Street website. So we'll have this thing ready to go. So you'll be able to get all your news and stuff.
No, there is. If they go to news, it's there.
What up, my people? So the oil lord's been working on kind of getting this thing going. So at some point in the near future, we'll have everything that you need kind of all on one site. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's starting to look good. It is. Hey, Christian. So the 9 EMA is just your short-term moving averages. Moving averages signify two different things. One is trends on particular time frames, and then the other one is, it can be areas of support and resistance. Now, you don't just buy things because they hit moving averages, but in specific cases, then they come into play, right? And so like your 9 EMA comes into play out of like the 18 different trading setups I do, the 9 EMA will come into play on 3 of them, right? And so there's specific instances and specific patterns where you may use them. Ideally, they are right after something pops. So like if you're looking at like, if you're looking at Neo or something. Hold on, let me add these. This is kind of cool, Wheel Lord. So like hypothetically, you can see, so like say something has like a big trend line break or something, right? So like you come out of this trend line and you break. What you'll find is in the beginning of the breakout, your 9 EMA will really come into play as potential supports and bounce spots as a new trend is potentially forming. So that can just be a good guide for either bounce spots, but also to understand whether your trend is weakening or strengthening, depending on the slope of it. And of course, it's a loaded question. It's a 5-hour question. I'm giving you the 5-minute answer, but those are kind of some different ways to do it. Even in like trading, so like if you're, say, trading and it's the market open, right? You're trading stocks and it's the market open. We often use the 9 EMA in the morning as potential bounce spots. So like if something gaps up on some news and it starts to round at its 9 EMA and the 9 EMA can hold it, you know, when it busts over that VWAP and comes out of its pattern, you know, we can take that thing for a trade, and you can get some really, really explosive type of moves. What's a typical success rate when you have a downtrend over a few days or a few weeks, trading intraday, and then a wedge or ascending triangles form that breakouts stick? You know, a lot of the times that kind of depends on the overall market. But once you start to see higher highs and higher lows, your probabilities start to rise significantly. You know, sometimes if you're just trying to time the bottom in the first break, it's hit or miss. Some fail and some go. But once you start to see it build a little bit and you get a series of higher highs, higher lows, like one higher high, the first dip gets bought, now they tend to stick a little bit better. Good, good, good. All right, peoples, I got to get going because I got to get fitted for this tuxedo. I'm supposed to be there in 15 minutes. I will see everybody Wednesday. And this the crypto site is coming along really well. We're going to keep beefing up our news and blogs and stuff like that on here and get this thing going. Yeehaw! My friends, it's been real, it's been fun, it's been hot, it's been sexy. I shall see everybody when I see them.
All here, Bulls on Wall Street. I am so pumped to present you with our newest product.
Boom, 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 boom.